Namaskar. Welcome to our show, Nari to Narayani. I'm Madhu Chaurasia, and this show is on MATV, presented by Inspiring Indian Women. Today is World International Disabilities Day. So, first of all, I have three guests today. Let me introduce Boromita Goswami. Hello, Boromita. Welcome to our show.
Hi.
Yeah, tell me about yourself first.
Yeah, hi Madhu. Thank you for inviting me today. Um, to begin with, I'm a corporate professional in transport for London, and also I'm a founder of art platform Jal Tarang, which has got critically acclaimed and have been supported by Ministry of India across various cultural rings across the globe, US, UK, Madrid, India, and so on. And also, I'm a very happy mother and proud mother of 8-year-old child who is in the spectrum of autism. So yeah, that's me.
Yes. So, yes. How is your child now? So you have any improvement after when he was deducted with these things?
Yeah, of course. My son, he was born in the year 2014, and in the initial years, for the first 2, 3 years, he had a severe milestone delays, whether it's verbal, whether it's walking, everything you name. So he had a very global developmental delay. But when he was diagnosed with this, when we had this official diagnosis, we know what to do. We know things were on our stride. We knew what we have to do further on, and we started intensive therapy, private therapies, and which has given us huge improvement. And today he is in a mainstream school studying along with his peers, and he's very good in maths and English and reading and speaking. Everything has been very good for him. I think it's because we had a strong determination and we always believed that there is a hope.
Yes, in mainstream, what I just found that it is difficult for disabled children to cope up with their peers and everything. Do you realize this is very difficult and challenging for him as well?
Absolutely. Of course, it is difficult because what happens, like the spectrum has a separate, it's a wide spectrum. The range is huge. So there are kids who have a severe spectrum. They are struggling day to day basis. And there are somebody like my son Parav, who is in a spectrum where his challenges are not always noticeable. So what happens, this could be overlooked by the in a mainstream settings, because he might be looking at you when you are teaching something, you are when there is a lesson going on, he might be looking at you, but he's zoned into his own world. He may look at you, he's very compliant, he doesn't create any disturbance in the class, he is very good in discipline wise, everything is very good accordingly, whatever you can see, he's very nice, quiet, compliant, but he is struggling. His struggles could be overlooked in a mainstream setting, because what happens is that like social communication, he find it difficult to befriend or initiate the communication. And as a result, what happens then, he has certain challenges, like he's very stubborn, he has to always get the first turn, he has to always win the game, he's very particular about certain patterns. Now what happens, peers of his age may find it difficult to relate to that, and as a result he might keep losing friends. So this is one of the very major challenge. And sometimes what we think that we need to discipline the child, but it's not the discipline part, but it is understanding the child, getting aware of the fact that he has some struggle. So sometimes teachers do not understand. I don't blame them. They are handling many kids altogether in a mainstream setting. You cannot expect one to one in that way. But like I always say everybody, that to understand my son, at least you cannot look at him, you have to stay with him to understand what he is facing, the challenges that is he facing. So mainstream settings, of course, it brings a certain challenges, but also there is a fact that from a mainstream setting, he is also learning. His learning skill is, because his learning skill is quite promising, so he's learning a lot of things from a mainstream setting. Even if it's a silly fight, even if it's he's imitating his peer friends, he's imitating something happening very, something very light moments in class that
Challenges.
makes everybody laugh. He is also laughing along with them. So somewhere he's coping with a normal regular life in a mainstream setting. So there is pros and cons, there is everyday challenge, but like I always say, that it will be there, but we have to learn the coping strategies to deal with that.
Right. Mainstream has lots of challenges according to a teacher as well. मैंने देखा है कि बच्चों को उन्हें देखना होता है उसमें अगर कोई एक बच्चा है जो कि जी, अगर एक बच्चा उस चीज़ को फेस कर रहा है, एक बच्चा नहीं समझ पा रहा है, तो उसकी वजह से जो टीचर
Your
मेन
voice
स्ट्रीम
is
के
breaking.
टीचर्स हैं यस मैं आपसे ये जानना चाह रही हूँ कि जैसे मेन स्ट्रीम में टीचर्स भी होती हैं, उनके अपने प्रॉब्लम्स होते हैं, उनके कैरिकुलम्स फॉलो करने होते हैं, उनके पास 30 बच्चे होते हैं, उनमें अगर एक बच्चा वैसा होता है जो कि उस कैरिकुलम को फॉलो नहीं कर पा रहा है, तो कहीं न कहीं टीचर उसको समझने में थोड़ी देर करती हैं और उन्हें लगता है कि मैं बाकी बच्चों को देखूँ या फिर इस बच्चे पे ज़्यादा फ़ोकस करूँ। तो ऐसे में उनके लिए भी चैलेंजेस बढ़ जाते हैं, वन टू वन बहुत सारे स्कूल में शायद नहीं हो पाता है क्योंकि वहाँ पर उनको स्टाफ की कमी होती है और वो नहीं कर पाते हैं वैसे चीज़ों को फेस। तो ऐसे में जो बच्चे होते हैं जो कि मेन स्ट्रीम में आते हैं क्योंकि अब सारे स्पेसेस फुल हो जाते हैं और आपके अगर बच्चे का माइल्ड सिम्पटम है तो बहुत मुश्किल होता है स्पेशल नीड्स वाले स्कूल में डालना। ऐसे में आपको भी क्या ये चैलेंजेस फेस करने पड़े?
एग्जैक्टली बिकॉज क्या है ना, बनी ऐसे स्पेक्ट्रम में था हमेशा कि उसका वन टू वन एज सच उसको स्पेशल यूनिट्स नहीं चाहिए था. दैट वाज ऑलरेडी बीन रिकमेंडेड बाय द डॉक्टर्स, द पेडियाट्रिक एंड द स्कूल्स, दैट ही डजंट नीड दैट काइंड ऑफ वन टू वन जहाँ पे उसको आपको ABCD या कलर चूज करो या बातें सिखाओ, ऐसा नहीं चाहिए था. So there are two kind of provisions that are being provided. Either you get somewhere जहाँ पे आपको ABCD से शुरू करके phonics सिखाना शुरू होता है, जो बनी को मतलब मेरे बेटे को नहीं चाहिए था. His nickname is Bunny, but at the same time mainstream setting is so structured. उसको उसमें भी challenges है. तो उसके लिए थोड़ा बहुत समथिंग इन बिटवीन ऐसा कुछ सेटिंग चाहिए था जहाँ पे ही नीड्स सपोर्ट बट एट द सेम टाइम he is good enough, he has that potential to get that mainstream setting as well. But unfortunately the schools find it very difficult to give that kind of support, you know, somewhere in between, some moderate kind of support where you need, where the child has the potential, the learning skills, but at the same time he doesn't need to be spoon fed, but at the same time of course you have to understand his needs. You have to understand, like you said, that जैसे कोई lessons हो रहा है, जैसे when they were having a Harry Potter lesson in class, everybody is learning the story, but Parav find it difficult to comprehend a complex story like Harry Potter. So what he did, when I asked him, do you know something about Harry Potter, he told me that yeah, that's a guy who runs, who fly with a broomstick. That what he understood in the whole story.
That's
तो
great.
ये
Yeah.
because for him things are very straightforward. For him things has to be very simple. He cannot understand any complex story. He cannot focus on that. But the mainstream school, they find it difficult to understand and cater the need of such kind of kid. जहाँ पे you have to break up the story, make it more simpler and get them understand. Having said that, if I take him to a special unit in a school with a special unit, for them he will be totally underestimated because he is in a spectrum जहाँ पे उसको पढ़ना लिखना समझना भी आता है, but they will take him back to something very very basic जो उसको नहीं चाहिए. So there is somewhere I find that something has to bridge that gap. So you have to cater according to the need of the child. It's not always like what I understand, that we feel that there are two extremes. No, autism is not about two extremes. There are many kids, many children who are in between those, जो cater नहीं होता, जिसके लिए right support cater नहीं होता है. That is what we felt.
बट जैसे
Every day it's
जैसे
a
स्कूल
challenge.
में बट इन स्कूल if you are providing one to one, even they are not trained
No.
staff sometimes, so they have to understand these kind of children. It is difficult for them as well to
Mhm.
go with this curriculum, to follow that one, and why they are not listening. It is hard to cope up with this kind of children. Do you think that is fair for them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, it's like I tell you, I cite you one example that happened. It was a sports day, and Parav has to be prepared for everything. Once you prepare him, he's very absolutely fine. But you have to tell him that this is what going to happen. This is when you are going to. They will call your name, and this is where you have to stand. So he needs a kind of preparation. So I told the school, this happened when he was in year year two, yeah, year one. So I told the school that the management that, what you have to do is that you just show him the pictures of the playground. You show him the pictures of what they are going to play, what they are going to be. He should know everything beforehand. At least what is there to look forward to the next day. So मैंने ऐसे बताया था, तो they said that they have trained the teacher assistant about it. When I went to the sports day, what happened? They were standing in the queue, and somewhere my son was expecting that he will be called at number two, but he wasn't. He had to wait, and he was called randomly after number five and six. So he was very upset. He got distressed. He started shouting, crying. And then I told the teacher assistant that in the next game, please make him go in the first. And she came to me and she said that that is not possible. That is not the rule. We have to call in a certain way. We cannot do that. So it was a very, very humble and very simple request that anybody can accommodate. But they did not do that. And as a result, Parav did not play that day and he was sitting at the corner of a tree. I was very sad to see him outcasted. We went to the principal, we spoke to the teacher, me and my husband, and we told her that it was a very minor adjustment that you have to do. You just had to prepare him and you just have to make him stand in the first. That could have been a game changer for him. You did not do that. And the teacher assistant, even though I told her, she did not do that. And you know why? There is no personal grudge between the teacher, TA, and my son. It is because she is not trained. She did not understood that what seems to be very trivial matter to her could be a very devastating for my son. So there where you need to understand and be aware, because you are thinking that my son, he can speak, he's verbal, he can be disciplined, but you are not understanding there is a lot of things inside his brain that you cannot see, but that is a struggle that he's facing every day. So there is a lack of awareness, there is a lack of training. The teacher thought, the TA thought, well, I have been trained, I have been told what I have to do, I have done that. It was very bookish for her, but actually they are not getting the right training, which is in a way they do not understand, and sometimes they find it very simple. Looking at the child, it is not that simple. So yeah, that is something I just recollected right now.
Thank you so much, Purumita. Our next guest is Geeta Chaudhary. She is a leader, autistic and complex need teacher at City of London Academy, freelance autistic consultant, founder of International Autism Complex and Need Support Group, international VHF member, community leader, and a volunteer. Welcome, Geeta, in our show.
Namaste, thank you.
गीता जैसे कि अभी पौरुमिता हमें बता रही थी कि उनका जो बेटा है वो ऑटिस्टिक है। ऐसे और भी कई जो बच्चे होते हैं जिनका एक तो फिजिकल होता है जो आप सामने से देख सकते हैं बच्चा ऑटिस्टिक है, कुछ ऐसे मेंटल इश्यूज भी होते हैं, तो आप उनको किस तरीके से डील करती हैं?
ये ऑटिज्म है वो लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्निंग डिफिकल्टी है और इसको रेगुलर और इंडिपेंडेंटली बनाने के लिए बहुत स्ट्रेटजीज चाहिए और उसमें एक्सपीरियंस्ड स्टाफ चाहिए। तो प्रॉब्लम ये है जो अभी परुनीता बोल रही थी कि ट्रेन नहीं है, मगर ट्रेन पीपल के लिए मनी चाहिए, फंड चाहिए, जो इतना अवेलेबल नहीं है। अभी गवर्नमेंट के 2012 के रिसर्च के हिसाब से 30% स्टूडेंट्स आर गेटिंग increased every year. They are diagnosed as autism. So 1 in a 68 now. The number was used to 1 in 100. Now 1 in a 68 is autistic person. And here we are just talking about autism, but it's a learning disability week. So there are so many disabilities are listed. And of course, the fund is not available. That is one of the hindrance. But in a school, as for my job, I closely work with parents to build strategies to make their child independent and calm as much as he can. Because if the child's needs are not met, they get anxious. It reflects on their behavior and it affects to their mental health. And it is a very vicious cycle where a child is suffering a lot because The child or the young man or the adulthood, whoever in the stage they are facing each and every moment very difficult situation which we normal people cannot understand. So to know them, of course, we need a proper training. We have to think what they think because we are talking about your neurodiversity. We have a different fingerprints, we have a different thumbprint, we have a unique brain. So why brain is different then? Why it is called as a disability? It's a just different ability. So we need both ways to accept it. We need to understand their world and they need to understand adjust in our world too. But it is very difficult for them. So obviously we have to apply different strategies, which is that includes first of all to calm them down, how the environment, physical environment, which is calm and supportive, including color, noise, lights. Once their physical needs met, we need to think about their emotional level. Are they self-regulated? Are they calm? Are they focused? What we need to do with them. And once we know that they're self-regulated and they are ready to listen, then yes, we have to use so many different teaching strategies. We call it multisensory. Autism responds well with visuals. So when you show the picture to them and sign languages, it goes in their head. And of course, they have a short-term memory, and as well as um, sometimes they have a trauma and they do forget what they have learned. So in that case, you have to do repetition over and over and over. As a parent and as a teacher, we need a lot of patience for to working with these young people and the adult. Anything else would you like to ask?
Yes, yes. You're working with sixth form as well. So, उनको किस तरीके से ट्रेन किया जाता है? क्या वो इंडिपेंडेंट हो पाते हैं आफ्टर स्टडीज?
There are three different stages of autism. So first stage, it is very high functioning level. So where they have just problem with either social skills or emotional self-regulation. Otherwise, their brain developed is very highly level. So they do perform really well because I have a high functioning in sixth form colleges, and they last year in GCSEs, one of my student got 8 and 9s in his GCSEs. So yes, high functioning, that's fine. But level 3 is a severe autism where they are like 16, 17 years old, but their brain has developed just 3 months old or 6 months old, where they cannot talk, they cannot understand, they have no clue what they are doing it, just like a small child, 6-month child. So in that case, we have some different kind of courses like life skills, arts, dance, and we deliver those kind of qualifications. So at least they can do their routine job themselves, and they can communicate either via sign language or the electronical high tech tabs, which communicates behalf of them. So yeah, we have a different autism levels, and it is challenging. It depends where you work and which student.
Yes. सर मैं वो भी जानना चाह रही थी आपसे, जैसे ऑटिस्टिक बच्चे होते हैं या जैसे क्वालिफाइड हो जाते हैं तो उनके लिए कितनी अपॉर्चुनिटीज होती है जॉब को लेकर?
That is still an issue because our society does not have enough awareness about it. First of all, they don't know exactly how autism people feel. And secondly, once they are educated, there is a problem with at workplace as well, because one of my he cannot communicate. He's highly functioning but cannot understand the social situation, and he will pass comment which might hurt someone else. Now that child is getting young man getting anxious from now onwards, that when he go to workplace what would happen. So because of that one, we are definitely raising awareness every year during autism awareness week. We do inform employers like when they go on a work experience or they go to college work or any other, we'd give them profile that this is the child, they are the needs. Make sure you cater their needs, and if they say
Hmm.
something which is offensive, it's not meant, it just comes because of his needs. So make him understand what is right and wrong, but do not discriminate him or do not exclude him that, oh, he has been rude and let him punish. So yeah, we have to work very closely at workplace with employers as well as the child and family with their personal profiles all the time. It's like their passport. Wherever they go, other people need to know what are their needs and what they can do better.
ओके। हमारे साथ परोमिता भी हैं और परोमिता का जो चाइल्ड है वो ऑटिस्टिक है। उन्होंने काफ़ी चैलेंजेस फेस किए हैं। अभी उनको काफ़ी सारे चैलेंजेस देखने को मिल रहे हैं। परोमिता, आप कुछ जानना चाहेंगी गीता जी से?
Yeah, sure, Geeta. Geeta, tell me something. Like you say, I also want to see, like any other mother. I don't know what lies after 10 years or 20 years, or maybe when I will be not there around. So that is something which will always be there. That concern, that uncertainty is always there. So you have seen adult, who are into the spectrum. So, have you come across somebody and what do you think? How do they lead a life? I mean, it's not just for the reference, but I want to know more about it for the adult, autistic adults. What is the best way for them to lead a independent life, to cope with the world?
Definitely, because as I said, there are different levels of autism. So one of our minister, he was autistic during COVID time. He was on the television all the time, and he has handled relation regarding NHS and stuff. I don't want to give name on media, but yes, he did really great job, and he was a high functioning. Of course, he has a lack of social skill and cannot eye contact. That is different thing, but he did good job. But when some people are on a like autism level 2 with some support, they can be independent. They can work if they have a proper strategy and they have been trained, and if a proper environment has been given, then yes, they can do normal jobs either in a library if they're reading at good, or they are if they are good at mathematics, they can do in accountancy firm as well. So or retail. It depends on their hobby or depends on what they are fascinated about. And when we talk about the level 3, very, very severe, afraid, they are still very dependent. And for them, there's no choice. They have to go to care home where they have been they have been with only carer one to one all the time because they can't do button, they can't eat, their motor skill is not good enough, their understanding is not good. So it depends what level your child is. But from my experience, I have seen that what you are struggling now, after 10 years, you will be proud of your son when when he has motivated, he has improved, he has been independent, and he has his goal. He will make you proud. I promise.
थैंक यू सो मच गीता एंड थैंक यू सो मच परोमिता। अभी हम लेंगे एक छोटा सा ब्रेक। ब्रेक के बाद फिर हम हाजिर होते हैं।
Sure non-stop protection. 72-hour antiperspirant plus motion sensor. Tested to the limit. Upgrade to Sure 72-hour non-stop protection.
Get up and go.
Millions of drivers are part of something special. They know they can keep on moving because they're covered by the UK's #1 breakdown service. With unlimited call-outs and more expert patrols across the country to get them back on the road before they know it. They are members of the AA. Be with the best this winter from £7 a month at theaa.com. The AA. Join today.
When you finally move in. When 2 becomes 3. When they've shot up again. When you want the flexibility to shop the brands you love. Say hello to VeryPay. Choose Pay Now, Pay Later, or Pay over 3 months and pay no interest. And we'll send you helpful payment reminders every month. VeryPay, nice and flexible for when life is anything but. Shop now at very.co.uk.
Babe, can you do my dress up? What's happened? Are you actually kidding me?
You weren't supposed to burn the potatoes. Or invite everyone round at 2.
Till 3 o'clock, right?
We weren't supposed to do presents this year.
I can't even be mad at you now, can I?
And you weren't supposed to take everyone home again. We weren't supposed to have our Beth either. We weren't supposed to get married. And you weren't supposed to be here. But you are, thanks to the best gift you ever got. And mine is still having you.
Give a gift that keeps on living. Donate now at bhf.org.uk/give to help us fund life-saving research.
This Black Friday, PlusNet have got just what you need. Great value, reliable fibre broadband for just £21.99 a month for 18 months. With our award-winning customer service and the option of full fibre squeezed in. Offer ends 7th of December. Head straight to PlusNet for our best deals.
Wouldn't it be nice to have the money to help your family out when they need it? Well, with Key's range of lifetime mortgages, you could release some of the money tied up in your home to help your loved ones to buy their home. And you could still guarantee they get an inheritance later down the line. So visit keylaterlife.co.uk to see how we could help you support your family. Key, for the life in later life.
Presenting the new U Body Brush from JML, the fabulous full body cleansing system with an extended handle to effortlessly clean those hard to reach areas without having to stretch and strain. Choose from 4 cleaning heads to wash, cleanse, exfoliate and even massage yourself from head to toe. All from one amazing full body cleansing brush. Treat yourself or give the gift of relaxation this Christmas with the new U Body Brush. Only $29.99 from Asda, Boots, Robert Dias and Wilko. JML, your Christmas made easier.
Discover your family's part in history. Search millions of records including the World Wars, Tudor times and Victorian era. Start your free trial today at Ancestry.
Bursting with goodness and tailor-made to your dog to help you live long, happy lives together. Visit purepetfood.com for 30% off your first box.
Date night. Give it 100%. Breakfast in bed. Give it 100%. Christmas dinner. Give it 100%. Crisp and dry, 100% rapeseed oil.
Too bold? Not at my age. Says who?
New tennis silhouette with a wavy lingerie waist. Wear what you want with style.
Darling, style has no age limit.
Just like underwear, protects like tenor.
ब्रेक के बाद आपका फिर से स्वागत है। हम बात कर रहे थे वर्ल्ड इंटरनेशनल डिसेबल डे पर और हमारे साथ 2 गेस्ट थी, परोमिता और गीता जी। अब हमारे साथ इंडिया से जुड़ गए हैं नरसिंह चौधरी जी। नरसिंह जी, बहुत बहुत स्वागत है आपका। आप क्लिनिकल साइकोलॉजिस्ट हैं इंडिया में और हमें अपने बारे में थोड़ा और विस्तार से बताएं।
ओके, थैंक यू ऑल ऑफ यू। अभी मैं क्लिनिकल साइकोलॉजिस्ट हूँ और मैं अभी सिविल हॉस्पिटल अहमदाबाद वहाँ पे ऐसे क्लिनिकल साइकोलॉजिस्ट के बेस पे काम कर रहा हूँ और बीएम इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ मेंटल हेल्थ जहाँ पे मैं असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर के बेस पे मतलब जो डिसेबल फील्ड में जो स्टूडेंट इंटरेस्टेड होते हैं उनका एज असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर के बेस पे वहाँ पे लेक्चर या फिर उनका प्रैक्टिकल जो भी चीजें है वो सिखाना, या फिर जो डिसेबल चाइल्ड होते हैं उनको लिए ट्रीटमेंट प्लान बनाना, जैसे कि बिहेवियर मॉडिफिकेशन है, एबीए थेरापी है। और ऑल्सो आई एम वर्किंग इन रिसर्च स्पेसिफिक इन डिसेबल फील्ड, लाइक जो डिसेबल चाइल्ड होते हैं उनके मदर पे जो ये कोविड के दरमियान जो स्ट्रेस आते हैं, तो स्ट्रेस के दरमियान उनको कितनी दिक्कतें आती है, और कोविड के दरमियान जो बच्चे होते हैं उनके अंदर घर में रहने की वजह से क्या क्या और दिक्कतें हुई है, वो सारी चीजें पे भी काफी सारे हम लोगों ने रिसर्च किया है। और अदर में एज अ कंसल्टिंग क्लिनिकल साइकोलॉजिस्ट के तौर पे काफी सारे साइकेट्रिस्ट के वहाँ पे विजिट भी करता हूँ ऑन पेशेंट।
जी, जी। आप मुझे ये बताइए कि एक तो फिज़िकल डिसेबिलिटीज़ होती हैं, मेंटल डिसेबिलिटीज़ होती हैं, जो कि आप समझ सकते हो, देख सकते हो, बट ऐसे भी बहुत सारी डिसेबिलिटीज़ हैं, जो कि जिसे पहचानना मुश्किल होता है, तो ऐसे कितने प्रकार की डिसेबिलिटीज़ हैं?
जैसे हमारे टोटल इंडिया में पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटी करके एक्ट है रिहैबिलिटेशन वाला, उसमें पहले मतलब 7 डिसेबिलिटी थी, अभी इंक्लूडिंग उन्होंने 21 किया है, जिसमें एक तो ये आता है कि इंटेलेक्चुअल डिसेबिलिटी हो गया, फिर ऑटिज्म स्पेक्ट्रम डिसऑर्डर है, फिर सेरेब्रल पाल्सी है, लर्निंग डिसेबिलिटी है, फिर मेंटल इलनेस उन लोगों ने ऐड किया है, ब्लाइंडनेस है, फिर लोकोमोटर डिसेबिलिटी है। तो ये काफी सारे अलग-अलग डिफरेंट टाइप्स की टोटल 21 डिसेबिलिटी है, और इस डिसेबिलिटी में सबका मतलब काफी सारे फैक्टर अलग-अलग होते हैं हर एक डिसेबिलिटी के पीछे।
जी, जी। तो इनिशियल स्टेज में पहचानना कितना मुश्किल होता है अगर बच्चे में डिसेबिलिटीज़ हैं और बर्थ होता है, उसके कितने टाइम बाद आप कोई भी डिसेबिलिटी, जैसे फिज़िकल और मेंटल की बात मैं नहीं कर रही हूँ, लेकिन बहुत सारे जैसे ऑटिज़्म है, वो बहुत इनिशियल स्टेज में नहीं पता चलती हैं, उन्हें बहुत बाद में पता चलती हैं। यहाँ यूके में बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं, जैसे कि यहाँ बच्चों को एजुकेट किया जाता है, मेन स्ट्रीम में भी डाला जाता है, जैसे मैं परिमिता से बात कर रही थी, उनका बच्चा मेन स्ट्रीम में पढ़ रहा है। लेकिन इंडिया में अगर कोई ऑटिस्टिक बच्चा है, तो उसको मेन स्ट्रीम में जल्दी लाना मुश्किल हो जाता है, उनको जल्दी स्कूल अडॉप्ट नहीं कर पाते हैं। तो वहाँ पर क्या-क्या चैलेंजेस फेस करने पड़ते हैं? वहाँ किस तरीके के से उन्हें ट्रीट किया जाता है?
जैसे अभी तो काफी सारा मतलब अवेयरनेस वो सारी चीजें हो रही है विद सोशल मीडिया, या फिर काफी सारे पेरेंट्स भी एजुकेटेड होते हैं तो वो एग्री करते हैं, जो पहले नहीं था। तो अभी हम लोग का अभी यहाँ पे कैसा है, जैसे कि अर्ली इंटरवेंशन करके हम बोलते हैं, जिसमें अगर चाइल्ड 3 साल का नहीं है बट उसके अंदर कुछ कुछ सिम्टम्स हमसे दिख रहे हैं, जैसे कि अगर हम ऑटिज्म की बात करें तो उसका जैसे नॉर्मल बच्चे के अंदर सोशल स्माइल 4-5 महीने पे आ जाती है, फिर उसका आई कांटेक्ट, वो सारी चीजें जैसे उसकी क्रोनोलॉजिकल एज बढ़ती है उसके साथ साथ वो सारी चीजें होती है। लेकिन जब ऑटिज्म की बात करते हैं तो उनको पेरेंट्स को भी लगता है कि जो दूसरे मेरे चाइल्ड है उसके कंपेयर में इसका कुछ एबनॉर्मल टाइप का थोड़ा बिहेवियर है, जैसे कि आई कांटेक्ट नहीं करता है, पूरे दिन अकेले खेलना ज्यादा पसंद करता है, कि किसी के साथ मिक्स नहीं हो पाता है, ठीक है, या फिर जैसे कुछ चीजें अच्छी लगती है तो बहुत एक्साइटेड होके ऐसे मतलब जंप करना, वो सारी चीजें करता है। तो वहां से थोड़ा थोड़ा एज ए पेरेंट्स या फिर एज ए प्रोफेशनल तो हमें थोड़ा पता ही होता है कि ये कुछ ऑटिज्म के फीचर्स दिख रहे हैं उसके अंदर। तो पेरेंट्स भी जैसे पीडियाट्रिशियन डॉक्टर के पास जाते हैं तो वो भी कुछ ना कुछ रेफर करते हैं कि आप ऐसा हो तो कोई साइकेट्रिस्ट या फिर क्लिनिकल साइकोलॉजिस्ट को आप रेफर कीजिए, एक बार उनको फॉलो अप लीजिए कि वो क्या कहते हैं। तो एक ये चीज हुई है। और जैसे अगर इंटेलेक्चुअल डिसेबिलिटी की हम बात करें तो उसमें भी मेन चीज ये है कि जैसे नॉर्मल बच्चे जो एडॉप्ट कर लेते कुछ कुछ चीजें, ठीक है, फैमिली जैसे लैंग्वेज हो गई, उनका सेल्फ केयर हो गया, उनका थोड़ा डेली रूटीन जैसे बैठना, चलना, बोलना, वो सारी चीजें अगर हम इंक्लूड करते हैं तो वो बच्चे जो इंटेलेक्चुअल डिसेबल है उनके अंदर वो ओवरऑल ग्लोबल डेवलपमेंटल डिले होता है। तो पेरेंट्स को कहीं ना कहीं लगता है कि ये अभी जैसे 3 साल का हो गया लेकिन क्यों नहीं बोल पा रहा है एक भी मीनिंगफुल वर्ड्स, या फिर जैसे टॉयलेट ट्रेनिंग है तो टॉयलेट ट्रेनिंग अगर 3-4 साल का हो गया, 5 साल का हो गया, फिर भी टॉयलेट ट्रेनिंग क्यों नहीं आ रही, जैसे नॉर्मल बच्चे में डाइट 3 साल की आ जाती है। तो वो सारी चीजें होती है जो हमें इंडिकेट करती है कि ये बच्चा नॉर्मल की कंपेयर में अगर देखे तो मतलब एबनॉर्मल बिहेवियर है, जो हमें कहीं ना कहीं बताता है कि आप इसका अर्ली इंटरवेंशन या तो फिर कुछ ऐसी प्रोफेशनल को दिखाओ ताकि आपको हम उसका डायग्नोस होने से पहले भी हम ट्रीटमेंट करना स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं। तो ये भी मतलब फीचर्स होते हैं जो क्लिनिकली हम देख सकते हैं और उसको आइडेंटिफाई करके उनके लिए एक ट्रीटमेंट प्लान भी बना सकते हैं।
राइट। जैसे बच्चों का तो समझ में आता है अगर ऑटिस्टिक है या डिसेबिलिटी सामने आती है बच्चों में, लेकिन अगर कोई पेरेंट्स ऐसे हैं जो ऐसे बच्चों को अपब्रिंग कर रहे हैं, उन्हें पढ़ा रहे हैं, तो वो भी कहीं ना कहीं मेंटल प्रेशर से गुजर रहे होते हैं, तो उनके लिए क्या क्या चीजें होती हैं, उनको किस तरीके से उसे हैंडल करना चाहिए, क्योंकि वो नॉर्मल बच्चे से अलग हो जाते हैं कहीं ना कहीं, तो उनके ऊपर प्रेशर बढ़ जाता है कि हम इसे किस तरीके से इसके साथ कोप अप करें। बहुत सारे ऐसे पेरेंट्स होते हैं जिनको बिल्कुल नॉलेज नहीं होती है, तो वैसे केसेस भी आपके पास आते हैं?
हाँ, हमारे पास वो टाइप के भी केसेस आते हैं, तो कभी-कभी हम लोग कभी क्या होता है कि पेरेंट्स को वो एक्सेप्ट ही नहीं कर पाते कि मेरा बच्चा इंटेलेक्चुअल डिसेबल नहीं है। जब हम उसके ऊपर साइकोलॉजिकल असेसमेंट, हमारा ऑब्जर्वेशन क्लिनिकली वो सारी चीज़ें करने के बाद जब डायग्नोस करते हैं पेशेंट को, तो पेरेंट्स को एक शॉक लगता है, मतलब एक ट्रॉमा टाइप का। अभी मेरा बच्चा क्या, हम तो कितनी उससे उम्मीद रख के बैठे थे कि हमारा बच्चा आगे पढ़ेगा, ये करेगा, वो करेगा। मतलब उनके जो ड्रीम्स होते हैं वो। तो जब हम उनको बताते हैं तो पेरेंट्स एक थोड़ा होता है ना कि इमोशनली भी हो जाते हैं कभी-कभी। लेकिन वहाँ पे एज़ अ हमारा रोल होता है कि हम पेशेंट को एक्चुअली सही गाइडेंस दें। जैसे कि अगर उनका इंटेलेक्चुअल डिसेबल्ड चाइल्ड है, तो हम उनको बोलेंगे, अगर असेसमेंट करने के बाद हमें पता चलता है कि उनका जो इंटेलेक्चुअल डिसेबल्ड चाइल्ड है वो माइल्ड कैटेगरी में आ रहा है, मतलब माइल्ड इंटेलेक्चुअल डिसेबल्ड चाइल्ड है, तो हम उसके लिए पेरेंट्स को समझाएंगे कि आप अगर नॉर्मल बच्चे की तरह ही इसके पास एक्सपेक्टेशन रखोगे, तो आप भी फ्रस्ट्रेट होगे और ये बच्चे को जो आप सिखा रहे हो वो भी नहीं सीख पाएंगे। तो आप दोनों का जो टॉलरेंस लेवल है या फिर वो सारी चीजें हैं तो वो बढ़ जाएगी दिन ब दिन। तो हम वहाँ पे एक गोल बनाते हैं कि अगर उसकी कैपेसिटी इतनी है, तो आप उस हिसाब से प्लान के अकॉर्डिंग चलो, तो वो बच्चा भी कर पाएगा और आप भी कम फ्रस्ट्रेट होगे। तो वो एज़ अ पेरेंट्स और एज़ अ चाइल्ड या फिर एज़ अ पूरा फैमिली में, वो जो फ्रस्ट्रेशन वाला, इरिटेशन वाला जो चीज़ होती है, वो हम कवर कर सकते हैं या तो कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं, अगर उनको सही गाइडेंस देते हैं। तो हम इसी तरह करते हैं फिर, जैसे कि ऑटिज़्म वाला चाइल्ड है, तो उनकी भी सिवियरिटी, उनका बिहेवियर इश्यू देखेंगे, क्योंकि आईडी की कंपेयर में अगर ऑटिज़्म चाइल्ड है, तो उनके अंदर बिहेवियर इश्यू ज़्यादा रहता है, क्योंकि कुछ फिक्सेशन रहता है सारी चीज़ें का। तो उनका प्लान हम अकॉर्डिंग टू चाइल्ड ही बनाते हैं कि वो उसके अंदर कैपेसिटी कितनी है, कितना पोटेंशियल है चीज़, और कौन सी चीज़ नेसेसरी है, पहले कौन सी है। काफ़ी पेरेंट्स की होती है, नहीं, नहीं, इनका काम तो हम कर लेंगे लेकिन इसको एजुकेशन में अच्छा आना चाहिए। वहाँ पे भी हम हमारा रोल होता है कि हम पेरेंट्स को समझाते हैं कि पहले पेशेंट को या फिर जो चाइल्ड है, उसको हम सेल्फ डिपेंडेंट बनाएँ, ठीक है? जो इंडिपेंडेंट है, जैसे उसकी बाथिंग हो गई, ब्रशिंग हो गया, वो सारी चीज़ें इंडिपेंडेंटली करवाएँ, ताकि कुछ-कुछ चीज़ें उसके साथ ग्लोबल जो चीज़ें होती हैं वो धीरे-धीरे डेवलप हो। ऐसा नहीं सिर्फ एजुकेशन। तो हम हमारा रोल ये भी होता है कि डिपेंड करता है कि पेरेंट्स क्या उम्मीद लेके आते हैं हमारे पास। क्योंकि हर एक पेरेंट्स की उम्मीद अलग होती है बच्चों को लेके। तो उस हिसाब से हम उनका पेरेंटिंग काउंसलिंग भी करते हैं वहाँ पे, और इंडिविजुअल एजुकेशन प्रोग्राम भी देते हैं, अगर चाइल्ड की एज 5 या 6 साल की है, या फिर स्कूल जा रहा है लेकिन वो स्कूल का जो सिलेबस है वो कोप नहीं कर पा रहा है। तो अकॉर्डिंग चाइल्ड हम वो पूरा एजुकेशन प्लान भी देते हैं और पेरेंटिंग काउंसलिंग भी साथ-साथ में चलती रहती है।
जी, जी, बिल्कुल। अब हमारे साथ एक और गेस्ट जुड़ गई हैं, कविता चंदानी, जो कि अर्ली इंटरवेंशन एडवाइजर, क्वालिफाइड इन चाइल्ड डेवलपमेंट एंड हैव एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ वर्किंग विद चिल्ड्रन फॉर ओवर 20 years. Welcome, Kavita, in our show.
Hi. Hi. Thank you, Madhu. Can you hear
Kavita,
me?
please frame. Yes, I can hear you. Please, आप अपना frame थोड़ा ठीक कर लें. Come in the middle.
Because I can see myself in 2 frames, so I'm not sure what's going on. Can you
This
see
one
me
is
now?
perfect now. Yes, yes. Come this side, a little bit, I think, left.
Is
Yes,
that better?
yes. No.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah,
sorry. Go on.
it's okay. Tell me about yourself first.
So I'm an early intervention advisor, and I've been working with children for more than 20 years now. I work in the National Health Service and also have a private consultation, and my specialty is on autism. So I help children achieve their developmental milestones. I create specific plans for the children and give the parents strategies so they can work on them to help the children achieve their milestones.
ओके, सो ऑटिस्टिक चिल्ड्रंस जो होते हैं उन्हें मेन स्ट्रीम में डालना कितना सही लगता है आपको?
Well, depends on their abilities. So, because autism is a very wide spectrum, so depending on where the child is, if the child is very severe, then it's better that the child goes to a special school where they can get more attention and they can get a lot more one-to-one
But
attention.
now these days special schools are overcrowded now, so it is difficult to go into that. If they have very mild symptoms, then it is difficult to go in special
Yeah,
education need. They
yeah.
they have to cope up with main curriculum then.
Yes, yes. So they can go into mainstream schools as well. So if they have mild symptoms, they are quite high functioning. So they can go into mainstream schools, they can cope in mainstream schools, but they do need additional support in the schools. So the schools need to make reasonable adjustments for the children based on their needs because each child will present different symptoms and if so they need to be assessed accordingly and depending on what the child needs the school needs to create a individual educational plan for that child and then based on that plan they need to put in the support that will be needed for the specific needs of the child. So they can cope, basically, to answer your question, they can cope in mainstream school as well, but they would need support.
Yes, but staffs are not that much trained now these days, and teachers have lots of pressure. So how not only the child, teachers are also struggling with these kind of things. Now, how they can manage all these? They can balance their
So
study and
yeah, so they lot of teachers are being trained and with autism, especially with autism or with other additional needs as well. And so it's very important that they are trained to help the children with their needs. And it's at the same time where the child is getting support from school, it's important to educate the parents as well so they can help the child at home and when they get that the similar support at home then with both the supports coming from both the sides from home as well as from school then that makes it easier for the child to learn because they need a lot of one-to-one support they need a lot of one-to-one training so they can be taught according to where they are so for example if a child is physically 5 years of age but his mental age is probably 3.5, 4 years of age. So you've got to start from there. You've got to start from where your child is. So if your child's mental functioning age is 3.5 and physical age is 5, then you start teaching them from the age of 3.5 what a 3.5-year-old should be learning because that's what his mental age is. Now, if we ask them to do the things that a 5-year-old child should be doing because that's his physical age, then we are setting them up to fail and they won't be able to learn because their brain has not reached that capacity as yet.
but not only autism, there are lots of things like in mainstream, lots of children are disabled and they want to cope up with their peers, but it is difficult. It is hard to understand that kind of child. So, do you think it is really difficult to cope up with mainstream school?
So, given the right support, like I said earlier, the staff need to be trained with regards to. So, each child has to have their own personal care plan depending on their needs, and then the staff need to be trained as to what does this child need. So, first of all, the assessment needs to be done by a pediatrician. And then, depending on what their needs are, staff need to be trained accordingly and given that support, the child can cope in a mainstream school.
और जैसे कि आपने बताया हमें कि टीचर स्टाफ जो होते हैं वो पूरी तरह से ट्रेंड होने चाहिए, बट ऐसा स्कूल में कई बार होता है कि स्टाफ जो होते हैं वो पूरी तरीके से ट्रेंड नहीं होते हैं, बट उन्हें वन टू वन देखना पड़ता है कई बार। तो उन्हें उन बच्चों को समझने में काफ़ी मुश्किलें आती हैं, बहुत सारे चैलेंजेस फेस करने पड़ते हैं। उन्हें उनका बैकअप नहीं मिलता है कि वो बच्चा पहले ऐसा था और अब उसको किस तरीके से सपोर्ट की ज़रूरत है। बस वो मेन स्ट्रीम में डाल दिए गए हैं और उन्हें अब देखना है कि बच्चे को हमें दिन भर कैसे हैंडल करना है। तो कई बार ये सारे सिचुएशंस भी सामने आते हैं। तो आपको क्या लगता है कि मेन स्ट्रीम में जो बच्चा पढ़ रहा होता है वो क्या सही एजुकेशन ले रहा है?
So yeah, so that is a big gap, in our school system. So that needs to be covered. It's very important for the parent to put the child in the right place, because otherwise the child is going to suffer. And
कई बार पेरेंट्स ऐसा सोचते हैं ना कि अगर हमने बच्चे को मेन स्ट्रीम में डाल दिया, अपना बच्चा हमारे जैसे ऑटिस्टिक है, माइल्ड सिम्टम है, हमने उसको अपने मेन स्ट्रीम में डाल दिया और पेरेंट्स एकदम निश्चिंत हो जाते हैं कि नहीं, अब तो हमारा बच्चा मेन स्ट्रीम में पढ़ रहा है, अब उसको किसी चीज की प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। वो घर पे नहीं चेक करते हैं, क्रॉस चेक नहीं करते हैं कि हमारा बच्चा किस लेवल पे जा रहा है, क्या वो प्रोग्रेस कर रहा है, क्या वो जा बस उनका बच्चा स्कूल जा रहा है, उनको सेटिस्फेक्शन होती है। तो ये कहाँ तक सही है?
so
डू
that's
यू थिंक इट
not
इज करेक्ट?
right. No, it's not right for the child, because basically the child is not learning anything. The child is struggling, and it's just wasting the child's time. Uh, and the teachers in the school, they are being challenged as well, because first of all, they are not trained to deal with this child. So it's very, very important that you, in the very beginning, that's what all early intervention is about, that you identify the problems that are there in the child's and in his behavior and his development, and then you get the right place for your child, get the right support, go to a therapist, ask them the right questions, ask them, what will help my child. So it's very important for the parents to understand and be aware of what their needs are. And then if the child is placed in the right environment, then, that child will definitely flourish. So you change the environment, you can't change the child. So you have to change the environment, give the child the right nourishment, the right environment that the child needs to develop and to grow, to achieve their milestones. So it's very, very crucial. So, that's where people like myself, different therapists, that's where we come into the picture, where we are giving you that advice as to what to do, how to do it. So answering those questions for the parents, that what is it that my child needs, and why. The why is also very important, because if you understand that why my child is doing what he or she is doing, then you can give them the right support. And then you don't, like Dr. Nursing was saying, that the parents get frustrated. They get frustrated because they can't understand, oh, my neighbor's child is doing these activities, but why is my child not doing that? So it's important for them to understand the why behind the behavior of the child as well. And once you understand that, then you can give them what they need and how to build that up. So it's a long journey, and you need a lot of patience as a parent to deal with children with additional needs. But once you understand why your child is doing the behavior, or not able to do certain things, then you can put the right support in place, and then you'll see how your child flourishes.
Now you have 20 years of experience related with child's development. So do you have any like memory about it you can share with us? Because अब जो है बच्चों को कई बार देखा जाता है डिसेबल बच्चों को भी स्पोर्ट्स में बहुत आगे बढ़ाया जा रहा है, उनको बहुत सारी सुविधाएं दी जाती हैं और वो काफी अच्छा कर रहे हैं। तो आपके पास कोई ऐसी मेमोरी है कि किसी बच्चे ने बहुत अच्छा किया अपने करियर में?
So yeah, I have a lot of clients that I work with. There is that, so they are all different. So, and they're also unique. So we can't just name one child. So there are, and it depends on where they are. So, because they could be, they have so small difficulties, so that can be managed easily. But if they are quite severe, then that takes a bit longer and more effort to support them. But that doesn't mean that they can't flourish. They can't achieve their milestones. They definitely can. So I do have a child that I was working with. I'm still working with him now. And he used to just run around. There was no focus, no attention at all, not even for half a minute. And he would just run around all day. There was no speech either, not even a yes or no. And I met this child when he was 3 years of age. And now, after working with him, and parents have been consistently following the advice that I have given them, this child is now doing swimming, gymnastics, very good at drawing and painting. He is speaking in full sentences, tells you what he wants. And he is a star child. He is on top of his class. He goes to a special needs school, but he's on top of his class. So parents are really happy with his progress, and a lot of effort has gone into place. But he can now sit for at least an hour and do all the academic activities that you ask him to do. So, that's a big win for me and for the parents and for definitely for the child.
जी, हमारे पास अब 2 मिनट का समय बच गया है। अंत में आपसे मैं बस ये जानना चाहूँगी कि जो बच्चे डिसेबल होते हैं, उन्हें आप किस तरीके से मोटिवेट करती हैं? जस्ट 2 लाइन में आप मुझे समझा दें इसे।
So I would say early intervention, finding out that your child has a problem and putting in support in place as soon as possible. And that's where you're going to see the results. There will definitely be positive results if you put the right effort at the right time.
ओके, सो ये बहुत अच्छी चीज़ हमें आपसे सुनने को जानने को मिली। एक तो कविता आप थी हमारे साथ और एक नरसिंह जी हमारे साथ इंडिया से जुड़े हुए थे इस शो में, और नरसिंह जी ने भी हमें बहुत कुछ बताया किस तरीके से जो बच्चे हैं, डिसेबल बच्चे हैं, उनके पेरेंट्स किन-किन चीज़ों से जूझते हैं, क्या-क्या परेशानियाँ आती हैं, किस तरीके से वो मेंटल इश्यूज़ से गुज़रते हैं। जो फिज़िकली चैलेंजिंग चाइल्ड होता है, उनको किस तरीके के चैलेंजेस देखने को मिलते हैं अपनी लाइफ में। काफ़ी कुछ आज इस शो में हमने जाना, समझा, बहुत कुछ जानने और समझने को मिला आप सबसे। आप सबका बहुत-बहुत शुक्रिया इस शो में आने के लिए। थैंक यू कविता जी, थैंक यू नरसिंह जी, आपका बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए। इस कार्यक्रम का समापन मैं यहीं पर करती हूँ। अगले महीने फिर इसी प्लेटफ़ॉर्म पर हमारी मुलाकात होगी एक नए विषय के साथ में। थैंक यू सो मच।
Thanks for having me.